Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about, was it over pursuing or something else? So sometimes I come across a breakup where it's not very clear as to what caused it. And I have a good example in this video of an email of a guy where it's not one major issue. I think that there were several issues going on here. And these are the issues that I think there were four that kind of stood out to me. And then you can kind of look for these four things throughout the email. Pursuing at the wrong time, anxiety causing him to over pursue, reality distortion, and selfish behavior. So I just want to go ahead and go right into this email. I thought it was a good one to help show that some breakups are a little bit more complex and complicated than others. Obviously, every breakup is different. There's a ton of different factors, but sometimes the exact reason, it's not one major thing, and in this issue, I think there's several things going on here. So let me go ahead and get right into the email. He said, so the reason I reached out was because I came across your work after watching countless BS videos from so-called breakup experts. I consider myself a smart, logical guy, and a lot of the advice isn't necessarily anything I'm willing to listen to. I wouldn't consider myself useless with women. I haven't really had issues attracting girls, and currently have a few girls on the go. However, I'm very much hung up on my ex. I think about her daily and would like nothing more than to get her back. I grew up in a loving family with the best mom and dad in the world and two amazing, beautiful sisters. I don't believe that I have attachment issues, but I do feel like I have OCD when it comes to my ex. I try not to stalk her on Facebook and Instagram. Usually just involves me making up situations in my head, but sometimes I can't help it. Alright, so something is definitely going on with this guy, and it's not OCD. Now, while it does appear to be like OCD, I believe it's trauma symptoms, and I really believe he has an attachment trauma. Earlier I mentioned some reality distortion. I think that's going on here, quite honestly, because I think he has tremendous amounts of separation anxiety, and he has completely distorted reality so he doesn't see that. Because, well, as you'll see, it's been a while since he's been with this girl, and he's still obsessed with her. And it's traumatic. What happens is, if you don't talk about the trauma, you continue to act it out over and over again unconsciously in an effort to understand it. Also, the obsession that he has, the level of the obsession that he has towards this woman would indicate the significance of the trauma in his childhood to his caregivers. So, I talk about this all the time. When we grow up in a home where things aren't so good, we distort our own reality in order to survive. And I think that's what he's doing here. Because, quite honestly, he is not acting like somebody that has a secure attachment style. And because your attachment is formed within the first 2 to 3 years of life, you can't fake it. It's either secure or it's not. Now, yes, it can change if you've had a significant event like a death to a parent or something like that, but barring that, it's generally, in I would say at least 75% of the cases, percent of the time, not going to change. It's just not. And so I think we've got some reality distortion going on here, and you're going to see we're going to see some of the behaviors that come up. So He says, we broke up last April. That's a solid 6 months. I felt terrible after the breakup because I acted out of emotion. All right. He acted out of emotion. What does that mean? You don't have emotional self-control. And what causes that to happen? Anxiety. And when do we start to get anxiety in life? Very, very early. Could be even within the first few months of life. So, why is his anxiety level so high if he had the most amazing mom in the world? Not knocking mom, but something happened. 2 and 2 doesn't equal 5. It equals 4, and I could see that. So something happened. He is anxious. He is in primal panic, right? So let me go on. My work can be crazy stressful, and I took stress out on her. Another indicator of anxiety to me. The week before we had a very intense conversation about our relationship, but both agreed we had something special and we wanted to work on it. However, the following Saturday, we called it quits. And he put a sad face. We called it quits. We called it quits. You just said that you both agreed you had something special and you wanted to work on it, but the following Saturday, we called it quits. Or she called it quits. I'm guessing she called it quits. And while you may have agreed that it was something special, she didn't. Because a woman that thinks she has a special relationship isn't really going to call it quits, is she? Another example of reality distortion. See? You see the pattern here? He's distorting reality with his romantic relationship, just like he may have done with his caregivers. Okay. Let me go on. We continued hooking up for about a month afterwards. I realize now how I messed it up that month. I over-pursued, got anxious, and tried to get her back. Doing all the texting and calling. Epic fail. Okay, so he's admitting anxiety here. And he was the one doing all the investing, not her. Unfortunately, you could see when you chase somebody like that, it just doesn't cause attraction. Alright. What was he doing? He was trying to cling to her, pull her close, and the more that he did it, the more she pushed away. And what does he say? Literally the next sentence. She backed away and I acted like a little bitch. She asked for space, so I finally got myself together and went no contact. We hadn't spoken for 30 days when she texted me asking if I was going to a party that she more than likely knew I was going to. Okay, so I think this is her reaching out, doing the indirect, direct approach. She was probably interested in you in that moment. That would be my guess. Ended up seeing her at this party when I was completely smashed, made a complete fool of myself, and hooked up with another girl and called her 10 times at the end of the night. What? Dude, what are you thinking? You knew this girl was going to be at this party. She literally reached out to you to find out if you were going to be there. She was probably looking forward to seeing you, talking to you, seeing how it would go. And then you were smashed when she got there? That's pretty self-destructive behavior to me. What were you thinking? You hooked up with another girl there too. You've been chasing this girl for a while. Do you guys see how self-destructive that is? Like, wouldn't you be looking forward to seeing that person that night? Instead, you completely went the other way. So he says, she called me the next day and I apologized and asked if I could get her coffee. She agreed, but a few days later, she sent me a text saying she didn't want to go get coffee and that we should probably go our separate ways. Ouch. So, why? Well, she probably found out you hooked up with that other girl. She may have been looking forward to seeing you. You acted, immaturely by drinking and hooking up with another girl when you knew she was going to be there and you were trying to get her back. Probably really turned her off. And, in the morning when she had texted you for coffee, she didn't know that, probably put two and two together, and it was like, I don't think I want to see this guy. Let me go on. We both did our thing during the summer. We had booked a trip together to go to a music festival and on a 5-day hiking trip. However, being a hot-headed Irish guy, I didn't want her to have the tickets for the music festival that I bought. You didn't want her to have the tickets to the music festival? Hot-headed is your excuse? Come on, man. What's really going on with you? You seem to have some real issues with emotional self-control here. And I'll tell you, and I talk about this particular ex all the time, the one that I had dated that, had a little girl and I was dating her for a couple of years. And, I had bought her concert tickets. I don't even remember who it was for. And I bought them for her before we had broken up. And when we broke up, she's like, I want you to have these tickets. It's not right if I have them. And I gave them to her. And I was like, no, I got them for you. I want you to go have a good time. And she took her sister. And you're the opposite. You acted really selfishly here. And some of you guys might say, well, he should have gotten them back. Yeah, you could make that case. I'm not saying you shouldn't make that case. I could see that point. But at the same time, he's the one that kind of blew this by hooking up with another girl the night they were going to see each other at that party. And likely did the stuff that turned her off there. I don't know. My personal opinion is the right thing to do would just let her have the tickets. I mean, unless it was like your favorite band or something. But it sounded like the way you put it is more you just felt like being selfish. So, she booked herself a 2-week trip to Costa Rica and I did my thing. When I got back in August, I wanted to see what she was up to, so I reached out. So here we go again. Pursuing at the wrong time, right? Another example of that. She was pretty receptive and seemed happy to meet up. I set up a date for the following week and just left it. She texted me the day of to confirm, and it seemed all good. However, she called me right before asking what my intentions were. She said she didn't want me to think that this was to rekindle our romance or anything like that. She said she had moved on. Ouch. Yeah, that sucks. That's really tough. I am sorry that you're going through that, and I know how painful that is. You were really looking forward to it. You were getting excited, and then she says that at the last moment. That's brutal. Now, for all you guys out there, this is exactly why I say that the woman or the person that broke up with you needs to be the one that contacts you, right? Because she was happy and friendly to hear from him, but it wasn't in a romantic sense. Had he waited to hear from her, had it been her that reached out to him, it would have been to rekindle the romance. She would have been interested romantically. But, as you could see, Wasn't quite what he was hoping for. So what do? We still met up and had a nice time. So he was still thinking he could maybe spend that time with her and try and change her mind. He said it was awesome to see her. She helped me with a presentation for work. I thought it went really good, but I didn't hear from her after. No contact until her birthday, and I sent her a cool custom happy birthday greeting that only I could make because I'm pretty damn good with Photoshop. So we have more pursuing at the wrong time. They went out. She had already made her feelings clear to him as to how she was feeling at that time, that she wasn't interested romantically. But he went and did the grand gesture. I mean, that's a grand gesture. I tell you guys, don't reach out for a birthday. He reached out for the birthday. Now, I don't know. Maybe he hadn't found my work yet, so, you know, I don't know. But you can see what happens. You know, that's why I say don't reach out for a birthday if you guys aren't together. He did it. Here's another example. He did it. He did the grand gesture. Didn't work. See? So, unfortunately for him, I'm sure it sucks. I'm sure he's really struggling, upset, maybe depressed and anxious over it, but there you have another example of it. For those of you guys that are on the fence when it comes up and you don't know what to do. So he said no contact again until my birthday, which was only about a month ago, when she sent me a message that only warranted a thanks back. Now, she says happy to birthday him. This is the point where I think he should have tried to be a little bit more engaging. Right? At this point, this is when he should have said, oh, it's good to hear from you. How are things? And then see if she wanted to hang out. Because she was doing a little bit of the indirect direct approach, in my opinion. That's what I would have done. He said, most recently we bumped into each other out at night and it was all good. Although I feel like she may have left because I was there. Not 100% sure. Well, it sounds like your gut is telling you she left because you were there, and I think you should go with your gut in this situation. Here's him pursuing again. I sent her a text the next night saying it was good to see her and I hope her and her family have a nice Thanksgiving. She sent me a couple of texts back, but there was no point in responding. I don't get it, man. Like, why are you reaching out to her and then when she responds, you don't respond? Like, I don't get that. This last weekend, she sent me a text saying that she bumped into my bosses. Not sure what to make of it, so I responded the next night, but didn't hear back. I think she was probably out drinking at the time, reached out to you, and then maybe had a little buyer's remorse the next day. He says, since we broke up, I had to take a look in the mirror and change my attitude. I can be a selfish ass. That doesn't sound like somebody that has a secure attachment style to me. But I'm also the type of guy who learns and changes. I know I've grown a lot over the last 6 months. I've been doing some pretty cool hobbies, getting into yoga, hitting the gym, eating healthy, and generally being a better version of myself. However, I do miss her, and I can see the value of what she brings to a relationship. Well, you know, at this point, I think there's nothing really you could do. You've pursued her several times. She's made it clear that at this point she's not interested in you. And I think it's fantastic that you're working on yourself and that you're starting to see, you know, that maybe you've been selfish in the past and you're trying to grow from that. I think you're probably distorting reality somewhat and ignoring, you know, how things really are. You're pursuing her at the wrong times. You're over pursuing her, and you're doing it out of anxiety. So what I think you need to do is just kind of go on. Maybe you'll bump into her again. Maybe she'll reach out to you at that point, send a couple of friendly text messages and be like, hey, you know, it'd be great if we went out. We should go get together and get a drink, you know. But when somebody tells you they're not interested and you continue to pursue them, it just chases them away even further. It just makes them feel smothered and even less likely to want to hear from you. So, if you want to get my help personally, go to my website, askcraig.net, sign up for the coaching right on the center of the page where it says schedule coaching. You got email coaching options and Skype coaching options. If you liked the video, put a like on there, leave your comments below, and remember to subscribe to the channel because I post videos Monday through Friday. That's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.